So how was you guys' week? How was your week this week? Let me start off first. I'm just kidding.
How are you gonna ask
I
us
know.
and go right into it?
No, you're right. Go
We
ahead.
need to talk about like proper etiquette and
Okay. What about we talk about your lip gloss is shining so hard right now?
look.
Why is your lip gloss popping? How was your week?
It was great. So
Okay, what was great about it?
it was a Hakuna Matatas the whole way through.
Yeah.
So really not great.
Yeah, I was gonna say for me the week was pretty busy because then our Monday with our meeting and then Tuesday having our family gathering and just with the time change. Yeah, just with the time change and Wednesday I use that day to just sleep all day, even Thursday, and then Friday with my class. It just felt like a busy week and trying to catch up to the time because of the change and
Yes, and you
I
had
was
Monday
just
class.
yes, and
So
I
that
was
kind of
yes,
threw things
yeah,
off a little bit.
yeah. So
for the
so
week.
just trying to catch up on that sleep. It was just like busy.
So when it came to the end of the week, you were missing on Sunday morning, ma'am.
Yeah. So
Can
about
you tell
that.
me where you were? No, just kidding.
Yeah, so thank you,
You're still in
Sally.
bed?
Thank you for just throwing me out there. My husband, he works overnights. I got off 7:30 in the morning, and our Sunday school does start at 9:40. Now, me and all my children, we were all ready. We were like, okay, we're gonna go. He usually comes home, takes a nap, and then when we're ready for Sunday school, we just wake him up and he'll just go in his work clothes. So by the time we woke him up to leave, it was like 9:30, and he was just so out of it. He was too tired. He said if he could get a couple minutes of sleep, and at this point, he just wanted to like just a little love tap on him. But then I was trying to be understanding, like, okay, you did work, we'll just take off this time. So I let my
instead
family
of showing up late.
yeah, instead of showing up late, we'll just make it for service, but we'll miss out Sunday school. So I let my family know, like, hey, we'll be missing out Sunday school this morning. And little did I know,
we were running late.
yeah,
Yes.
everyone was running late that
Everyone
day.
was running late. Granted, the time change didn't happen this past Sunday.
Yeah,
it happened the previous Sunday.
Yes. So we should have had a week of getting it together.
Yes. And then not only that, Sienna, she's adjusting to the time change too.
Mm-hmm.
So her breastfeeding schedule kind of changed a
Yeah.
little bit. So getting ready this past Sunday was a little rough. And then the shoes. Mamas, any fellow mamas out there that are listening, if you're getting ready for church, whoever said easy like Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Did
Did you go to church on that day? Because that Sunday morning rush. Okay.
Yes, that Sunday morning rush is crazy.
It is crazy.
And
Maybe a dad made that song.
Maybe a dad.
There you
Yes.
go. Because
bingo.
that's how it is for fathers. You're right.
You're right. They just wake up and go. Okay.
Yes, it is.
That's why sometimes if you see me at church, sometimes I don't have makeup on or my hair's not done, but the kids are gonna look good. Okay.
Yes.
But I need to look good too. So this past Sunday we were running late. Typically when we're running late or when we're in a rush, I'm like yelling. This Sunday I was like, we're already late. Let me just let's all find our things that we need to find.
Yes.
But it's not a great excuse for me to use.
Well,
I do have
Definitely
Sorry, go
not.
ahead.
It's not a good excuse, and don't do it again.
okay.
For me,
no taken.
for me, I totally get it though, because the time change, even though it happened 2 weeks ago, my body is still adjusting to it.
Maybe we need to sit out in the morning and let our bodies adjust, like
Yes.
that internal clock.
Right, because I keep waking up because we recently had to spring forward,
Yes.
losing an hour, right? And so because of that, I'm always waking up an hour later for everything.
Yeah.
Waking up an hour later for anything that I'm supposed to be doing, because I typically don't set an alarm because my
Yes.
body wakes me up early anyway. But with the time change, my body's waking me up not on time. So I'm showing up late to places that I needed to be at an hour earlier.
Right. So let's talk about who else was missing on Sunday morning.
Your parents?
Your girls.
Oh, my kids!
Wow. No, our parents were there.
Okay,
a little bit late.
Now, if for anyone listening out there, you're like, "Dang, you guys all go to the same church." That's not something that we have to do.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that to.
Yeah, so we
some
all
of
go
our
to the
fellow
same church.
listeners.
Well, first of all, we all live in the same neighborhood.
Yes.
We all live like down the street from each other,
Mhm.
which I love. Kim's a little bit farther away, but we all live close to each other, close enough, and we all attend the same church. So all our children are growing up together, doing things together, even going to church together. We mentioned before how they serve together too at our community's food bank every week. So they are plugged in together at the same place. It's just a way for us to also be together and to do life with one another. I know I have family here that I don't see, like first cousins and things that I don't even see often, and that's because we're not visiting the same places together either. We're not at the same, church, and so just being together also keeps us being able to do life with each other. So yes, we do go to the same church, and so we are all keeping each other accountable every Sunday morning, texting, hey, where are you? Sunday school is starting, I do not see you.
That's what I
And
love, the accountability.
The accountability.
You can't get away with nothing.
yeah, you can't get away with anything. So
You're like, if I have to try to make up an excuse,
Yeah.
like everyone's gonna know. No, you're gonna know that maybe you're lying.
yeah, hey, I see your location, so I see you're still sleeping at home.
That's another thing. We all have
Yeah.
each other's locations.
Right.
So
It's a whole big accountability thing. And it can suck if you're the one that's being held accountable. So my kids were also missing this Sunday from church because they had a sleepover. It was spring break, and just with all the busyness that was happening, they ended up having to have their sleepover on the day that, the next day was Sunday, so then they weren't able to make it. Now, even though these are all valid reasons,
right,
that was
spring
valid,
break.
that your husband needed a rest because he just got off of work before you guys were able to all come together. And then with you and, having the baby and having to get all these children ready and on time to get out the door. And even my children, having their sleepover that they've been planning, and it just so happened that it got pushed all the way to them ending up missing Sunday morning.
Right.
Those are all valid things. I mean, you can justify all these things, Oh, my internal body clock, like I keep waking up late.
Those are valid.
So all of those things are valid, but just because it's valid, does that make it right?
doesn't make it right.
That's a question. Let's dive into that.
For me, church is non-negotiable.
Exactly.
And it's not
Yeah.
because church attendance, like,
Yeah.
it's not like a legalistic thing, but it's in regards to being a part of the body of Christ.
Exactly.
I'm going to pass it down to Kim because I feel like I'm going to start preaching and I really don't want to do that.
Because that's just like with my family as well. My husband knows it. Church is non-negotiable just because we also grew in the ministry and we saw how important church played a role in our lives growing up. And not only that, that's the way that I want to train my children. It does say in this great book, train up a child the way you want them to go. So when they get older, they will not depart from it. And
That's right.
I take that really strongly till this day because just with the way the world's going, you want your kids to have a solid foundation. Exactly. We're sisters. Yeah. Just with all of that, that's just important and non-negotiable. Just with anything else in life, I know with me making time set aside, or if I'm committed to dedicating the time for a certain thing, like waking up before, right now I haven't been doing that good, and that's me, that I need to be like, okay, Kimberly,
So you're the problem.
so I am the problem.
I am
okay?
also the problem.
Yeah, every time you reflect, it comes back to you. You are the problem, okay? And there's some things that you need to fix, and that's okay.
Yes.
Because that's the only
You can
way we
change
can
it.
grow.
Yes.
Exactly. You don't want to stay the same and go the same way. You want to continue to grow. Yeah.
So,
Bing, bing, bing.
so let's just break that down real quick, because we're saying that church for us is a non-negotiable, and I agree, because this is the world. And everything that's happening in the world today, that is the one place that I want to make sure that my children know, that my family knows, that, hey, this right here is a priority. This right here is a necessity in our lives, because we need this thing. And without this thing and apart from it, we will fall apart. We won't be able to live our life to the fullest. And it's not just church and stuff. It's not the building. It's not that. Those are not the things that I'm referring to when I say church, and it's just for them to be there and to know how the importance of being there and plugging into the word and getting
And
together, serving, getting together with fellow believers, and one mind and one spirit, and just having that time every week and making sure that they know that this is important. That's why it's a non-negotiable.
Even when you don't
because
feel like it.
even when you
you're
don't feel like
tired.
it. Exactly.
Like,
And
we
so
all have those moments.
right. And we say that, and then we gave ourselves the excuses this week. Oh, they need to make sure that, well, it's their sleepover. Well, he does need some rest, or
Well, Sienna's super fussy this morning.
right, I need to breastfeed, and all of those reasons are valid. But when you make up your mind and you say that this thing is a non-negotiable in my life, if it's something as easy as tiredness making you move that priority from where you said you wanted to be, then something has to change.
Yeah, not only that, but then you start applying that in other areas of your life too.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
And then maybe evaluate and see what in your life that you're moving things around to make time for that thing.
Because
where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes. And let's stop talking about church. Yeah. Let's replace that with something else. Okay?
How about like Dallas Cowboys fan?
How about football?
Okay.
Yeah, walk us
Let's
through
talk
that.
about it. You know, even if you're on the go, maybe your son has a football game, but then you also have, the Cowboys playing at the same time. You don't have a TV. You're out on the field, right? Yep. When you're driving to your son's football game, what are you doing? Turning on that radio station to find
this sounds specific.
It is very specific. Okay, it sounds like I know. Like you're making it happen. You're gonna listen into it. You're gonna tune in.
You're gonna find a way to be plugged into that, because that's
like you don't want to miss the kickoff of the beginning of the game. Like I don't understand, but
some diehard fans, you're gonna make sure that somehow, some way, you're tapping into the thing that you're really focused on, that you're interested in.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all.
I'm saying also apply that to other areas of where you said this is a priority.
Exactly.
Show up in that same exact way.
Yeah, show up with the same urgency that you're on your phone trying to look up the latest stats or whatever, the
pulling
score
up a live coverage of it.
Right, exactly. Have the same urgency. Keep the same energy. Okay?
And when I say this, I'm not like talking about anybody else, because I do the same thing. There are things that I can put at the top of my list, and then I'm like not even giving it any effort or that commitment or that discipline. So
right. And which brings me to the topic of procrastination. Because sometimes you're showing up late to places because you procrastinated in the first place to prepare for the place that you said was a priority.
And when I sit back and reflect, Anna, that's what I'm thinking about with this past Sunday, why we ran late, because I procrastinated on setting out the kids' clothes. Right. Because I figured, you know what, I'll just do it in the morning. I'm gonna close my eyes and go to sleep.
It's always I'm gonna do it in the morning.
Yes, and then
the
you
morning
don't
comes,
wake up on time,
and there's that Sunday morning, and we're in a rush. We're rushing. We're getting onto our kids. Like, put your clothes on, and
like you should have.
And it's us.
Yeah,
it's us.
It's us.
Yeah.
Right. The problem is me.
And now you're passing off that energy to your children and your husband, but you didn't prepare. You didn't get ready, and you can easily pass the blame and say, why doesn't my husband prep the clothes? Right. My husband could have done that.
Put off that
so easy. But then where do you take the responsibility?
Right.
Where
are
you
going to exactly? I'm gonna show up on time.
Right. When are you gonna own up to it? And hey, maybe procrastination is the reason why you are late.
Yes.
And procrastination, a lot of people you think that procrastination doesn't hurt anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Right. Because procrastination affects everybody around you. It's not innocent. It's not something that, what it is? It's a lack of discipline. Yes. And you need to get a hold of your life. Because if you don't get a hold of if you're not in control of your life, something else is in control of your life.
Right.
Whether that's laziness, that's and then you're just allowing this undisciplined spirit to just take over your entire life, because
or labeling it as this is just who I am.
Right. Oh, I'm so tired.
Oh no, did I get a nerve?
I'm so sick of this is just the way I am. Yeah. What? How are you gonna why do you want that to become a characteristic trait of yours? Exactly. Right. I don't understand.
And you can change it.
Exactly.
Let me tell you can change that.
How can you expect others to respect your time if you don't even respect your own time? You're not even using your own time wisely. You don't respect your own time enough to make use of every moment to be productive. It's
And life is so futile and fragile. Exactly. Like you never know the second that maybe your time's up. Okay, everybody got an expiration date.
Everybody. Exactly. How are you using your time? And how are you being meaningful and living with intention in the life that you're living?
And these are the things that I've had to learn. Wow, we've got a lot of moving parts here. Someone has some
Allergies.
allergies.
Yes.
The allergies for me.
Yeah.
These disrespectful allergies.
Respecting others' time. So
Oh yeah.
it doesn't, you running late or whatever, like that's gonna have an effect on
Yes.
maybe whether you're having a meeting.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
now we can't start the meeting without you.
Yeah.
I'm talking to myself because sometimes I'm running. I'm usually the one, I think, in our family that's usually the one.
I wasn't gonna say it,
All
but
right. Yeah.
that's the first step is taking accountability.
Mhm.
So,
and I'm not gonna say that that's who I am, which
yeah,
is what I would have said
exactly
back in the days.
Period.
But that's a sign that you can change. Okay,
Mhm.
it starts with you. I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
Yeah, that's what Michael Jackson said. That's what Michael Jackson said. Yeah.
But yes, talking about respecting other people's time. When you're late or procrastinating, you're not respecting their time, and that just brings me to a time which was recently for me, and looking back at it. Looking back at it, I'm like, wow, because. So every Sunday, me and my sister, we take these piano classes, and they're free, by one of our ladies in our community.
Oh, no.
She has dedicated her time to our community, free piano classes every Sunday or Saturday or Tuesday, whichever day. Whichever day works best for you. And I remember this Sunday, my house was just torn up from the flow up. Okay, it was a tornado. I have 4 tornadoes at home, and they're just around around the whole entire house. And this Sunday, I was finally like, okay, I'm gonna get my house together. Okay, I'm not gonna let the day go. I'm gonna get it together. So then I decided, hey, sissy, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to make it to piano class tonight because I really have to clean. I really want to set the tone for the week. Now, is that, like we said earlier,
like that's a valid,
like it's valid,
valid,
exactly.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
But is it right?
Because she dedicated her time, opened up her home to be able to teach us
free
for free, and I took it for granted and decided to clean my home. Okay,
and then what happened?
But yeah, so it just it makes me feel guilty. It shows that I don't respect her time that she's given freely to us. And that's something for me to really take in, and don't do that again. Don't do that again, Kimberly.
And I remember because I was at work and I looked at our sister messages and you were getting chewed out.
Yeah, by this one over here. Yeah,
rightfully so.
Yeah,
and she was just telling you the importance of honoring someone else's time because you signed up for those free classes and they prepare. You don't know what they're doing throughout the week to prepare
exactly
for you specifically.
Or how their week went
exactly
to still set that time apart for you,
because she also has things that she needed to do.
She has a family,
but she set this side aside and she committed to this time that she's giving back to the community. And for someone to sign up and then say, not today because I have things that have come up, then you're not honoring that person's time. And also when you do that, guys, you're also not even, every time that you say something, you make a commitment.
Yes.
Every time you are putting a deposit into 2 places. You're either going to put a deposit into keeping your word or you're putting a deposit into not keeping your word. And then you become, wherever it is that you're depositing the most in, that becomes you. Yes. Because if I was to say, think about someone who has committed something, who said, hey, you know what? On this day, let's do this and I'll take you here, or I'm going to come to this meeting, or I'm signing up for this. Think about someone who says that.
I can.
But does not show up. Never comes through. Did someone come to mind? Does somebody come to mind?
Someone does. And one thing that it showed me was that I couldn't depend on that person.
Right.
As much as I love this person, we have a great relationship, but it just showed me that I couldn't depend on their word because they just never followed
it means
through.
Nothing. It's unreliable.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, but it means maybe that, they're undisciplined. Okay. But if I say, think about someone who shows up for you in the way that they say they'll show up for you, that no matter what, that they will make sure that they keep their commitment, that they will honor their word. And I'm sure that, like, for me, a person comes to mind. And so that's the thing that's happening every time you open your mouth and you speak something. Words have weight. And
Yes.
if you don't keep your word, then other things, repercussions come from that.
Yep.
Now you're unreliable. Now no one can trust you. And now,
Now you're labeled as that type of person,
Right.
in that other person's
right,
mind.
exactly. And it's not you're just being labeled. It's who you are. That's it's just who you
Now
are.
that's become who you
Right.
are. Yes.
Right. And but the great thing about it is that you can change.
You can always change.
You can always change.
Yes.
Please don't ever say that's just how I am. Please. Please.
She's begging y'all.
I'm so tired of hearing it. But yeah, you can always change it. Because words have so much weight. Words,
Yes.
it's the gravity of your word. They say word is bond.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say things. One thing that's so irritating is when someone says, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there. Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Just to make conversation.
yeah.
And
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You're wasting your words.
You're wasting your words.
And then that just don't do that.
Yeah, don't start, because all these things, they're really, at the end of the day, all these things can be characterized as a bad habit. These are habits that you have picked up because you have deposited. Every time you speak and you don't do it, you deposit it on the
And then just
on the
becomes
negative
easier
side.
for you to keep
It
doing
becomes
that.
easier. It becomes easier. Then you allow people to expect that from you, and then you think that that's okay. And it's not okay.
Exactly. And now talking about being on time and procrastination, let's talk about island time. I know our people, we know island time.
Coconut time.
There's island time. I saw that there's Malaysian time.
Yes.
There's black time.
Yes,
There's
it's
Ghana
all the
time. They
same.
call it Ghana. Oh man, I forgot. But it's GMT.
Yeah.
They have like some short Ghana man time or
Yep.
something like that. So I wonder if it's like because
Well, I think okay. So growing up in the island,
Yes.
what do they have in the island? It's just bountiful amount of it, just never ending amount of it. What is it?
Time.
They have time.
Yes.
There's so much time. When you're in the island, there's just so much hours in the day.
Mhm.
It feels like it's just one long, never-ending
Yes.
time. You can sit under a tree and feel like you've been there for
Yes.
5 hours and only 30 minutes pass by.
Mhm.
It's just so much time, And I feel like being here in the States, especially with all the business that's going on, you don't have the luxury of island time. You don't have the luxury of just being still for so long and having so much hours in the day to make up
Exactly.
for
And that's
it.
why these folks, when they go on vacation,
Right.
you're going on vacation to the islands where you got time.
Exactly. Right. So island time. So just because you're running on island time, does that make it okay for you to show up to things late?
Definitely not, because but
Did you get lectured again?
no. No, it's not the lecturing. It's just, it brings me back to a memory. I remember me and my husband making time to go to a birthday party. Now we know the island time and our island people, and if they say it's gonna start at 4:00, give 2 more hours, it'll start at 6:00. So, but me and my husband, that's one thing that we have become disciplined at, is being on time to things. So we did show up, and also we go to a church that's not full of islanders, so they're on time with their things. So then we go to this birthday party, and it ends up not starting till 6:00, and we had something very important that we had to go
leave.
to later on, like at 7, that we ended up not even being able to be there for the party to start because it started on island time. So it just goes to show about other people's time, what they set aside to make time for this thing. And if we were to start on time, we could have, enjoyed, had a good time, but then we ended up having to leave because we had an important matter to go to.
Right. And that's the thing to take into account too,
Exactly.
is that when you're planning something or you're hosting
Yes.
something and you set a time,
Yes.
to keep in mind that those that are coming have
Exactly.
set aside
Yes.
and a specific amount of time so that they can come
That's
to your
right.
event or, to that celebration with you. And this
Yeah.
is not to judge others. This is not to judge
yeah.
how other people are running on time or whatever. This is for you specifically as an individual to be mindful of the time that
Yes.
you are spending, how you are spending your time,
Yes.
to the commitments that you're making, and to make sure that you're following through, and you're being genuine, and you're being earnest in the way that you are
Exactly.
connecting with people, connecting with others. Even your job, showing up to work,
That's right.
that's a good exercise for you
It
as an
is.
individual. Even if you hate your job, you hate this
Yeah.
place or whatever, but you committed, you signed up, to be hired.
And maybe change the way you're speaking about your job too.
Exact right.
Okay, because there's power in your word.
Power
Okay?
in your words. There's power in your words. Exactly.
The tongue, has
holds.
the power. Hey.
Yes,
The
exactly.
tongue has the power of life or death.
Exactly right. So what you speak really matters. So
We're
always,
gonna eat its fruits, whether it's
Yeah.
bad or good. So
yeah. Only you are going to reap the benefits or repercussions of the things that you say.
I think I remember you, Anna, saying once when you had to go do something, you're like, "Oh, I have to go do this," and then you reworded it to.
And I said, I get to
to.
go and do this. Yes. And that's another thing that just plays into, sometimes you have to play games. Sometimes you have to trick your mind so that you're rewiring your brain and rewiring the way that you think about things. Instead of, we have to get up and get ready for church. Hey, we get to get up and get ready for church. We get to go to Sunday school. We get to go see our families and worship Jesus together. We get to go to work.
Yes.
We get to go to, anywhere.
Exactly. Because instead of seeing it like, oh, I gotta get up and do this, now you're looking at it from a grateful point of view.
Grateful, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. With Thanksgiving,
That's
Yeah,
right.
gratitude, and that's the way that you should approach anything in your life.
Oh yes, for
Really.
sure.
it makes a big difference, and that's coming from the Grinch. And so, by the end of this year, we're gonna have to find me a new nickname. Oh, Pink Panther! I'm already become Pink Panther.
Yes,
so.
there you go.
The Grinch is hey, the Grinch is still good because the Grinch's heart grew.
Oh yeah.
Yes, remember?
So
Right.
Grinch does have a
You're the Grinch after
Okay.
the Grinch
Yes, you're the
changed his
Grinch.
life.
Yeah.
But it's so important, and that's something that we three here are working on.
Oh, yes.
Is being mindful
Exactly.
about our time, being
Each other's
mindful
time,
about
yes.
the commitments we say that we're going to commit to.
That's right. Following
This is
through
not
with it.
something that we have mastered already.
No,
This
yeah.
is a continuous work in progress.
Oh yeah, and being on time is definitely just also a success principle. To be successful, okay, with anything in life, it starts with being on time to what you say you're gonna be at, where you sit, or what you're gonna do. It's doing it, following through with your word. This is the first step of being successful in life with anything that comes your way.
Exactly, because could you imagine a restaurant or McDonald's or Kroger or someone
And if they didn't open on time,
putting out hours, their
I need
business
my food.
hours, and not opening to serve?
okay, yeah,
I've been to a business where I was going
yes,
for some food
oh
and they weren't
yeah,
open. Okay,
yes,
Yeah.
your hours, I'm about to change it myself.
And then as a
Okay.
consumer, you feel like, well, I'm not going to come here again because if you can't even
Exactly.
honor your hours, how can I drive there? I don't trust you anymore. I don't know if you're going to be open if I make the drive to come out to you.
Exactly.
So even in that way, do you see
Yeah.
how important it is to
Yes.
keep your word
exactly
about things? It's so important, especially as a business owner. Just like you said, because it's the first success principle.
It is exactly.
Right. And so in order for you to grow, this is a necessary
Yes.
for your growth. It's
Yes,
board.
across the board.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Kick procrastination to the curb.
Mhm.
Kick excuses to the curb. Okay.
and it's not just showing up on time, but also show up 15 minutes before the time that they said they're going to start, because allowing that time for you to get there to fully take in like what is going on, and just be in that moment. Because I know whenever I'm rushing, when I get there, I'm just
so
like
hard.
like it takes a while for me to settle down.
it's the way that you start your day.
Exactly.
Once you start your day off and you're in a rush and you're in a funk, or
Exactly.
now you're forgetting things.
Yes.
Now you forgot your baby's
Yes.
shoe or sock, or
Exactly.
you forgot your notes.
Yes.
Very important. And then you
And then
get
for
there.
some reason, it starts
No, yeah,
snowballing
go ahead.
everything. Everything just like, okay, now the whole day is bad.
Right. Because now you already started off on the wrong foot, and now you're not able to be present in the moment that you're supposed to be taking in. Maybe if it's church, you're not able to really sit and take in the fellowship and the worship, and really give yourself that space and time to.
And then we have little people that are watching us,
Mhm.
and so that's another thing, is like we can say all that we want, but then we have to
Right.
show them as well.
Exactly.
Because on Sunday mornings, okay, when we're in a rush, than angry mom.
Yeah, because
is
you know
showing
what's
up.
horrible?
And I don't want them to.
What's horrible is being an angry mom
Mhm.
and being frustrated and all these things, and then you're taking your kids to worship.
Exactly.
And then expecting them to stand up,
Exactly.
sing. Why aren't you
Exactly.
singing? Stand up and right. Excuse
You already
me.
set up that energy in the morning.
Did you take the time to posture your heart for worship?
Yes.
Because you postured your heart for violence. So
That's so true.
that's another thing, is that when you're getting ready to do something or to see through the commitment that you made, make sure that your mind is right. Make sure that you're posturing your heart in gratitude for this moment, for this opportunity, for something that you said, I'm going to be there. Make sure that you're in that space, because it's a disservice to others and to yourself
Exactly.
to show up and you're not ready in your heart. You're not ready
That's right.
mentally, to be in that. You cannot fully give from that, because you already started the day off on the wrong foot.
Exactly. Yeah. And it just goes to show that time is the most important thing in life. It really is.
Most important
just,
commodity.
yeah, just think of it, like if someone passes away,
Most expensive also.
the most thing that you hear, if someone passes away, oh, if only I had more time. If only I had more time to sit with this person. If only I would have done this with this person at this time, or whatever it is in life, it's always time. Or 5 years from now, you see someone walking on the street, a homeless person, 5 years, they're successful. It's all within time. So it just shows how important time is and what you do with that time.
Right. And that's something also, is just being mindful with
Exactly.
your time. But once you start
Yes.
making sure that you're showing up
Yes.
to everything on time, and that you're
Mhm.
posturing your heart and your mind and soul, and to the things that you commit to, once you start doing those things,
Exactly.
then you notice how much you will begin to appreciate
Yes.
time, and you
Yes.
appreciate how you use your time,
Exactly. You feel the change. You
Right.
see the change. Everyone around you can see the change.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that something that's so important is when you speaking and being mindful of your speech.
Exactly.
Because sometimes it's easy to say things when the environment is,
for sure.
the vibes are high,
Yeah.
the energy is
For
great.
sure.
Wow, I feel so loved and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Let's do this again tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes.
That sounds like our commitment to our kids.
Exactly.
About meeting up every Monday.
Yes.
Right. So we showed up one random Monday. We said, hey, you know what? We haven't done in a while. Take our kids to the park. We're all so busy. Let's take them to the park today. We ended up going. It was so much fun.
So much fun.
For the kids and for the grown-ups.
Yes.
So much fun just seeing them play soccer, running around, getting fresh air. So we were on a high.
We were.
We said, let's do this every Monday. And guess who got themselves locked in a commitment? Us.
Yes.
Every single Monday.
Because the very next week.
The very next week, it wasn't even the very next week on the Monday.
Yes.
It was rough. Okay?
It was that.
I think we had like a little sister argument.
I think
we had a little sister argument.
that sounds like it.
And just because we're arguing
Exactly.
doesn't mean that we get to pull
Exactly.
out of the commitment that we made to our
Yes.
children.
Exactly.
So just because we weren't feeling the vibes with each other,
yeah.
guess who still tried to show up to the park?
Yes.
All three of us.
All three of us. So I remember
In your grumpiness, in your
and I was telling
unwillingness.
Kid, I was like, I had to show up.
Mhm.
We made a promise to
Yes,
the kids. He was like, I
yes.
didn't make a promise. You made a promise. I was like, watch it. Watch it, sir.
Not try to drag the husband along to make it easier because you argued with us.
It's gonna be awkward. Can you come? No. All right.
That's not what it was.
Myself.
That's not what it was.
Do that move again.
I can't even. You little jerks. I can't remember what it even was. But
It wasn't important.
But that's the
It wasn't
point.
important.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
that's the point.
And so even though we were arguing and we just did not feel like I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to talk, I'm not in the mood to like Hakuna Matata. So we said, you know what? Let's go
Yeah.
and let's sit there like this
Yes.
and let the kids play.
They had a
And the
they
kids
had
had
fun.
a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and see, just even showing up the Mondays, like every Monday, our kids already know.
They already
Oh,
know.
it's park day.
They're looking
It's
forward
park
to
day.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we have set that commitment
Yes.
and we dedicated our time, even if we're busy.
It does not
and
matter
we're
what comes
tired.
up.
Yeah,
And that's hungry,
Exactly.
tired. You have errands to run. It doesn't matter. You told the kids,
Yeah,
that
Monday
this is something.
Yeah,
And you have to make sure that as a parent, we keep our word so that we're
Exactly.
teaching our kids good
exactly.
habits
That's right.
and teaching them how important
Yes.
it is to keep their word.
Yes.
And that's another thing to point out as well, is that just because you made a commitment to a child
Mhm.
does not mean that it's any less important than making
Oh,
a
yeah.
commitment to a
For
grown up,
sure. Yeah.
to your boss, to your wife, to your whatever,
Yeah.
to your husband. You need to make that the commitment is the same. Okay.
Exactly.
Your word, it's still the same.
You know what? You just called me out right now because I'm just now remembering about my kids, and oh my gosh, I just feel horrible. And you know what? I'm gonna bake that pie for my daughters because they've been asking to bake their pie, and it just goes to show because Aki just 2 days ago was like, "Mama, remember you said we were gonna bake pies together," and just talking about the importance and how I feel when someone doesn't keep their word.
Yeah, horrible. Right.
Now I feel horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why if I don't know for sure if I'll be able to
Yes,
keep a commitment, I'll
exactly.
say I really want to do that.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll
Yeah.
see. Let me look at the date and give me some
exactly.
time to
Yeah.
come back to you. Because if I say after work,
Exactly.
okay, after work tomorrow we'll do
Yes.
it. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
After work
You
tomorrow we'll do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Don't just say, because I know as parents we'll be like, okay, yeah. Like, just to
Right.
get them like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. And then the day comes and you don't do it. Yeah.
Keep your word. Just because
Yeah.
you made the commitment to a kid, don't be a
Exactly.
jerk.
Yeah.
Don't be a little jerk. Keep your commitment,
Exactly.
even to a child, because if anything, it's more important when you're giving that commitment and keeping
Yes,
it to a
to a
child,
child.
because they're
Exactly.
soaking all that up.
Exactly.
Children learn by what
Mhm.
you do. They do not learn about what you say.
Exactly.
They are
It's your
mirroring your
actions.
every action, word, move,
Period.
how you do everything. There are your
Yes.
little copies of you, and they
Exactly.
will do as you do.
Yeah.
So
So they start acting a certain way and you're looking at them like, that's how you act? Yeah.
So when you start to get on them,
Look at yourself.
turn like
Look
this
at yourself.
and change your life.
Look at it.
Okay, because that's what's happening right now in our life as mothers.
That's so true because our kids will do something. He will immediately look at me
Uh-huh.
because he knows
Yeah.
where they got it from. So
Yes.
it's true.
Yeah,
They learn
it is
by
true.
what you do.
Exactly.
Right. So it's so important to please just live a life that you yourself, that honors everything that you say.
Exactly.
If you say that this thing is a non-negotiable,
Mhm.
honor it.
Exactly.
Don't move things around
Yes,
because it's
yes.
you have to keep the word that you made to yourself also.
Exactly.
And something to also keep in mind is that you have heard every lie that you've ever told.
Yeah.
You're the only person in the world who has ever heard every lie you've ever told. So I'm going to start taking a hold of my life, my health, and my goals. I'm going to go and do this thing here. I'm going to start, you know what I'm going to start? I'm going to start eating more home cooked meals. I'm going to cook every day. I'm not going to go spend money that I don't need to spend. I'm not going to eat processed foods. Guess what? Every time you break that to yourself, you are telling yourself those lies. And then you find it hard to believe in yourself when you're doing something.
That's why it's hard to believe because you already lied to yourself so many times.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So you got to keep the word even to your own self.
Keep your word. Kick procrastination.
Right. And just because it's valid, that doesn't make it right. Just because your excuse is really, really,
really
good,
valid, it's a great.
it still
great
doesn't make
reason.
it right. It still doesn't make it right. Use the excuses that you have not to do it to do it. Okay.
Yep.
I can't because I'm pregnant. Well, guess what? Well, I am, and I should because I am pregnant.
Yep.
You know, not that specific.
Who are you talking about, Anna? That was a good one. Wow,
It's the first principle of success.
that was just like so slick how you threw that in there. Wow.
You got to take a break to.
I was like, wait a minute. My mind was processing like, wait.
But that's so true about procrastination because when you look back at it, you're like, that's why Kim ended up having to cancel piano classes because you had to procrastinate
Yeah.
with your cleaning.
Exactly. But I didn't take into consideration their time. Yeah.
If anything, procrastination is a little bit selfish, if anything.
Oh, yeah,
It
for
really
sure.
is. Yeah,
Exactly.
I procrastinate a lot, so
Yeah.
gotta kick that to the curb.
Yeah, so time is valuable, especially other people's time. Always make time for them. If you say you're going to do something, follow through with your words so that what you say has meaning and has weight behind it. Please. Okay?
Honor your word.
Exactly. Honor your word.
I gave my word to my dad that I was going to show up for work. And so I need to go. I need to go. I need to rip this headband off. I need to rip this headband off. Take the earrings off and put on my hat and get to work.
Okay, Monkey D. Luffy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for liking our videos, commenting.
Yes. And thank you
it.
so much for holding us accountable too, because now that we're talking about time, guess what? We need to make sure we get those uploads, weekly uploads done by Wednesday morning, like we say. Okay?
Yep.
Exactly.
So what I love about doing these is that we need to keep our word.
Yeah.
Yes. So and sometimes I rewatch these episodes so I can remember what I said and do that. Do
Right.
exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, don't be fronting up here for the podcast.
No. There's
Okay?
no fronting. Okay?
We're gonna make sure you do it. We're gonna make sure
to keep it real over here. That's why I keep telling myself that I need to go start my marathon training.
start your marathon training, because you brought that up many
I brought
times
that up
on the
January,
goals.
yes,
On the goals.
on our January
We're gonna check
podcast.
back in on our next one and talk about just where we are on the goals that we had and see how everybody's doing.
Oh yeah, can't wait for that. You guys tune in for that.
See you guys next time
on what
at Anna Podcast. Peace. I'm just kidding. Bye. I knew I was gonna throw you off.